So we're going to talk about monitoring spirits. You have to be careful with who you give personal information to, whether it's your friends, whether it's your family, whether it's coworkers, random people, relationships. Be careful who you share information with, because that person could in fact be working under the influence of a monitoring spirit. So what is a monitoring spirit? Remember that the Bible says that we are not wrestling against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So this is a spirit that will operate through people to gain information from you. So the goal is to find out your weaknesses, your vulnerabilities, because the enemy is using that information against you and to attack you, to set traps, to basically derail or block whatever it is that God is doing in your life. Or if you're drawing closer to God, they want to figure out a way to stop that. So these people are watching you. They could be watching your social media. They could be watching things that you post online. If you do any type of content, they're paying attention to your content, trying to see if there's anything they can figure out as far as what's going on with you. Or if it's somebody that you personally know and you haven't talked to them a while, they call you. They want to find out all this information about you. They want to see what's going on, what's new, what's happening with your life. And then when you try to ask them questions, all of a sudden they change the subject. They don't want to talk about anything. They don't want to reveal any information to you. Instead, what they're trying to do is just find out everything about you and will give you nothing in return. This is how you know you're dealing with a monitoring spirit. So some of you might be asking, is a monitoring spirit biblical? So what we're going to do is we're going to get back in the Bible. We're going to get back in the book of Judges. I'm going to give you a couple examples of monitoring spirits so you can see it for yourself. Okay, so this is going to be Judges 16:4-6, and it says, "And it came to pass afterwards that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. And the lords of the Philistines came up unto her, and said unto her, Entice him, and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will give thee every one of us 1,100 pieces of silver. And Delilah said to Samson, Tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict thee." Okay, so Samson falls in love with this woman. The Philistines come to this woman. They tell him, find out what makes him strong, find out what makes him weak. So Samson's enemy, the Philistines, is getting somebody to go in and find out what makes him strong and what makes him weak. Listen to that again. The enemy is sending someone into Samson's personal life to find out what it is that makes him strong and what it is that makes him weak. What was the whole point? They want to figure out how they could overcome him and take him down. So Delilah came into Samson's life already having an assignment. And believe it or not, there are people in your life that are on assignment. They might seem like they're friends. They might seem like they're family. They might seem like they have your best interest. But the truth is, they are being used by another spirit to find out what it is that makes you tick in order to take you down, bind you, and afflict you. This is how people end up losing blessings. This is how people get caught up in oppression. This is how the enemy steals from somebody. And this is how the enemy will use traps against that person. So you always got to think about the timing. Remember, you have to be sober and vigilant and always use discernment when speaking to people, because not everybody has the best intention for you. All right, so I'm going to give you another example, and this is going to come from the book of Isaiah. It's going to be chapter 39, verses 1-6. And it says, "At that time, Merodach-Baladan, the son of Baladan, king of Babylon, sent letters and a present to Hezekiah, for he had heard that he had been sick and was recovered. And Hezekiah was glad of them and showed them the house of his precious things, the silver and the gold and the spices and the precious ointment, and all the house of his armor, and all that was found in his treasures. There was nothing in his house, nor in all his dominion, that Hezekiah showed them not." So the king hears that Hezekiah was sick. He sends people to bring him a gift. The king now lets these people into his house, and he is showing them everything. Okay, let's keep going. "Then came Isaiah the prophet unto King Hezekiah, and said unto him, What said these men? And from whence came they unto thee? And Hezekiah said, They are come from a far country unto me. even from Babylon. Now, if you know anything about Babylon and Israel, Babylon was never their friend. They never were on Israel's side. So you got to think, the king sends people to the other king, and the other king shows them all of his household, all of his good. Now think about that. The enemy will send people into your life that are thieves that want to steal your blessing, steal the promises that God has over your life, or steal what you currently have in your life. And how do they do that? Well, think about it. You ever seen a movie when people are going to do a heist? What is the first thing they do? They gather intel, they scope out the place, they look for weaknesses, they look for cracks, they look for things that they can get in, ways to infiltrate in order to take whatever is in there, right? So think about that. These two men are now in the king's house and they're looking at everything. I'm sure to themselves, they're thinking, okay, there's ways that we can get into this place, and we're going to go report it back to the king of Babylon. So let's continue. Then said he, what have they seen in thine house? And Hezekiah answered, all that is in mine house have they seen. There is nothing among my treasures that I have not showed them. Then Isaiah said to Hezekiah, hear the word of the Lord of hosts. Behold, the days come that all that is in thine house, and that which thy fathers laid up in store until this day, shall be carried to Babylon. Nothing shall be left, saith the Lord. So you just opened a door to the enemy. You allowed the enemy to come in, see all your goods, and now the enemy is going to come take those goods, and they know exactly how to get it. Just like with Samson, you allowed this woman into your life thinking that you loved her because you were lusting after her, and now she knows your secrets, she knows your weaknesses, and she knows how to bring the enemy in to subdue you. So this is why you have to be very careful of giving information to people, because sometimes those people are going to use that information against you, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, whether it's personal relationships. Be mindful, because sometimes when these people are coming in, it's specifically to figure out a way to take you down. So ways that you can recognize someone who's operating under a monitoring spirit, again, they're going to come to you looking for information. They want to know everything. And again, it might be someone that you no longer have in your life that is all of a sudden reaching out to you. All of a sudden, hey, how you been? What are you up to? What are you doing? What's new? What's going on? What do you have going on? And then you ask them a question and they're like, anyway, so tell me more about this. Tell me more about that. Tell me more about this. That is a red flag that that person is not trying to see what's going on with you. They're trying to find out, what is this person doing? What are they up to? How can we stop it? And also you have to remember that sometimes these people are witches and they are doing witchcraft against you. And they're going to be monitoring you to see if whatever spells or enchantments or hexes or curses, whatever they're putting over your life, they're going to monitor to see if it's working, to see if it's weakening you, to see if it's working, because if it is, they're going to keep doing it. Or if they know, okay, this person struggles with this, let's send this into their life. Oh, this person is having a hard time with that, let's increase that warfare in their life. It's always about taking you down. Remember, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about with the head of a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. He is after you. This is a spiritual war that you are in. So pay close attention, and when you see these things happening, pray about it, because it could in fact be a monitoring spirit. I've had this happen to me many times, and unfortunately I had to learn the hard way. So I learned the hard way so you don't have to. Take this in prayer, take it to God. I pray that this helps somebody. Just be careful, be mindful of your words, and do not reveal information to everybody. Don't just start spouting out at the mouth and telling everybody everything about what's going on with you. Keep it to yourself. Let God lead you. All right. Thank you so much for listening. God bless you. I pray that you all have a wonderful day, and I will keep making more videos as I'm led. Take care.